Okay, Algebra 2, we've got lesson 6.7. Guys, what you need to know is for a box. If you've got a box, you've got length, width, and height. The volume of a box is just length times width times height. You need to know that. That's preliminary. That's super important. And today we're going to deal with some word problems, but I've got some real good news. Desmos is going to do all the work for you. Thank goodness. So let's start by drawing ourselves a little picture here. It says that the width of a rectangular box, the width is 2 times its height. Look, I'm going to call the height x. We always want to use x to help us out. And we're going to say the width is 2x, 2 times x. The length is 5 more, so that's 5 plus x. 5 plus x. The volume is just those expressions multiplied together. I'm going to call that y. This is your volume. So you could say x times 2x times 5 plus x. Okay? Now, they're going to tell you also that the volume is 87 feet. So I'm going to have y equals 87. So I've got 2 different equations. You're always going to get 2 different equations to work with. And guys, as we've got this going, once you've got this written out, you can go straight to Desmos. And I'm going to get this thing typed in, just desmos.com. And it will say start graphing. And then we're going to be able to, of course, just get started here. So you can see for our y equals, in 1 second, okay, we want to go to this entry right here and type in y equals. And you can see what we had done before. We had 2x parentheses x plus 5 times an x. Now, you can go in any of those orders, and that would definitely be okay. Then I'm going to click down below here and type in y equals, and what was it? Was it 87, I think? Yep. So we've got those 2 things typed in. You can see very quickly that you should see 2 graphs. You should see 2 graphs. You're going to see in red, you've got a polynomial. You're also going to see in blue, you're going to be able to get this line. Now, you might not see y equals 87. You could, if you've got a touch screen, just adjust the screen. You can hit the minus for the zoom out. That's on the far right edge of your screen there. And there you have it. You can see that the blue line is touching this. You put your cursor, click right there, and you can see the intersection point. 2.42 is your x value. Your x value is your height. You notice that the y value is 87. Of course, that's your volume. But you just want to write down x equals 2.42. And that is your height. That's what you're trying to find. X equals 2.42 feet. Okay? So, again, here's the cool thing. Yes, it's an involved word problem, but with Desmos, it should be really just a matter of letting that program do the work for you. Your big goal is to write the equation out. We're going to do 2 more problems real quickly. And by the way, I'm going to change this right here. Instead of saying that we've got 4 times the box, we're going to change it to 3 times. So let's look at 1b. A rectangular box has dimensions of 4 by 4 by 5. So length, width, and height. Now, by the way, you could figure out what your volume is right now. Your volume is 4 times 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20, and 20 times 4 is 80. You might need that later on, should you ever be asked about it, but that is your volume, one of the easiest geometry problems. Volume of a box, length times width times height. but saying increasing each dimension by the same amount. When you are increasing, what kind of math are we doing? Not multiplication, but adding. They're saying you increase by the same amount. So now your length, width, and height, you just add the same number to it. X, 4 plus X, 4 plus X, and 5 plus X. And they're saying, as we keep reading it, it yields a new box with a volume that's 3 times the old box. Now, we're going to talk about that in a minute. The volume of this new box is 4 plus X times 4 plus X times 5 plus X. But the new volume we said is 3 times the volume. What is 3 times 80? 240. Now here's the real cool thing. You could write y equals 240, or you could just go, you don't even have to multiply any of that out. You'd say, look, my old volume was 4 times 4 times 5. I know that this new volume is just 3 times that, and I could just put that in. At this point, guys, you just have to get this typed into your Desmos. So let's go there, and I'm just going to delete this out, and we'll say, here is 4 plus X. We'll say here's another 4 plus X. And the other one was what? 5 plus X, right? I think that was right. We can double check that. And it would only take a moment to confirm that, right? And then your other equation will be 3 times 4 times 4 times 5. So we can do that real quickly down here. Let's say 3 times 4 times 4 times 5. And notice down here it even says y is equal to 240. So once you get these two things typed in, you just want to use Desmos to find out where they cross. Now again, if you have a touch screen, and I do, you can just slide on over and you can see where that's happening. Otherwise, on the far right edge, it's right outside of this viewing screen. Unfortunately, you can't see it on the video. But on the far right edge of Desmos, there's a plus and a minus. You can click right there to make your window more appropriate. And it's an X value of 1.898, but we have to round to the nearest hundredth. Look, if you're having trouble rounding, feel free to use your graphing calculator. And we did that last period. Setting it to 2 decimal places for the mode, you can just type in whatever you want. 1.898 would go to 1.90. You have to look at your hundredth. If the number to the right is a 5 or bigger, you bump it up. That's 1.90. That's what we're looking for. We're trying to find out what the dimension is that was increased. They're asking us to find x. So that's 1.98 feet. Okay? Guys, we've got one last problem, and that's the one that we didn't do last period, and then kids had some questions about how to follow it up. Alex will throw an additional problem in here where a slice is removed from a cube. So somewhere on your sheet, do this too. It's not going to take you too long. It looks way different at first. Look, you've got a cube. Okay, and a cube is just a 3-dimensional square. You know, all the dimensions are the same, length, width, and height. And what they're going to tell you is a little slice is going to be cut out, a 2-inch slice. So you can see what's happening right here. We're just going to remove this little thing right here. And they're going to get you to look at the resulting rectangular box once you remove that yellow piece. First of all, if this whole thing is x, and if you're taking 2 away, hopefully you would agree that my new height is x minus 2. Right? I'm going to slice off a top I'm losing 2 inches. My new box is only x minus 2 steps high, but I still have an x by x here. And that's really what we've got. You can see that your volume is length times width. Here's your new height. You just lost 2 inches, right? And they're saying this new box is a volume of 67. So I'll have y is equal to 67. I'd like to solve for what the edge of the original cube was. I'm trying to solve for x. I think you guys get what we're going to do right now, I hope. We're going to type both of these equations into Desmos. So let's do that. We're going to see that coming over here. We'll just delete this. We'll say it's x times x. You can put some parentheses in here. And then the other one was, what was that? X minus 2, because we lost the 2 inches off that slice. But then the other equation was 67. So I'm going to come back over here and say y equals 67. And right now, guys, hopefully you can see, I think that got changed somehow. Let's change that back to 67. And, you can scroll down. You can hit the minus button. Eventually, you're going to see that you're getting 4.849. That would become 4.85. Your x value would be 4.85 to meet both of these conditions. So all you got to do is say the original length. What's the original length? X would equal 4.85. Okay, and that's our lesson for today.